YouTube, it's Bill and Darla McLean, Economic Refugees RV. We're going to do our 10-year update, which actually is 10.5 years, because we left when?
We left in October of 2010.
Right. So here we go.
So in the beginning of full-time RVing, of course there was a big stage ahead of time of actually determining whether we were going to be able to do this or not. We had a business, we had a house, we had all these cars. We've actually been on the road for 10.5 years, but we started like 8 months before we ever actually got on the road. We were searching out RVs and trying to get the information and going and looking at RVs and talking to people that worked in RV dealers, all different kinds of things. Did a lot of RVT searching and eBay searching. And when we finally found the right motorhome, of course, when we first saw it, Darla didn't think it was going to work because it was a mess. But
I actually said something like, keep driving.
Yeah. We went to Las Vegas. We found this motorhome in Las Vegas. And the thing was, is this motorhome, at that time, everybody was asking between $50,000 and $70,000 for these RVs. And this really great lady, she had this rig, but it needed a lot of work. And I offered her $25,000 for it, and it was a hard decision for her, but she decided to let us have it. I think she thought that we were going to just take it and fix it up and sell it. But we still stay in contact on Facebook, and she really gave us a big start. Anyway, we worked on the thing for months and months, painting it, reupholstering it, doing all kinds of things.
At the same time emptying out the house that we'd lived in for 28 years.
And selling off the motorcycle shop and what was left of the electronics company and everything. We were just trying to get rid of everything.
This was in 2010, right after the economy kind of tanked. So we tried to sell our business, and that just was a no.
Right. The economy started tanking in 2008, but our motorcycle business was strong all the way through 2010, most of it. But then things got really bad. So that's where the name Economic Refugee comes from. Yeah, we had to change that too, because everybody from Bangladesh and all these countries are going, yeah, we wanna become economic refugees. And
where do I get my free RV?
Yeah, where do we get our RV?
Story.
So anyway,
we changed it from Economic Refugees to Economic Refugees RV.
Yeah, and still once in a while we still get a deal, and nothing against people wanting to come here, but yeah, that's not what we do. So anyway, our first thing was we were taking off in October, and we needed to go to South Dakota because the truck was still registered in California, and we needed to get our driver's licenses. We went to South Dakota, and we got our registration on the truck, got our driver's licenses, did the whole thing there, and then we were headed to Coffeyville, Kansas to work for Amazon. And that was quite a first trip, wasn't it?
It was quite a first trip.
We had some real experiences with detours and sending us down these little tiny roads, and I really didn't. I mean, I'm not an ex-truck driver or anything. I'm a motorcycle guy, which makes a big difference when you go from a motorcycle to one of these giant deals pulling a pickup truck, and we're driving down these small roads.
Pitch black, no street lights.
And there was owls and deer and dogs, and I mean every kind of barnyard animal you could think of was on the road.
Did you mention it was a detour?
It was a detour. A guy with a little flashlight going like this.
I mean, we're used to California, where OSHA plays a big deal, and they've got road signs for a mile before they get to the incident that something's up ahead. There was nothing like that. No cones, no little sawhorses with reflective nothing.
They routed us completely off the highway.
Flashing light, nothing.
So we didn't get to see the guy just holding the shovel, like in California. But anyway, we went, and then this guy come zipping the other way in a FedEx big rig, man, darn near blew us off the highway. We get to this T in the road, and I figured, okay, we got to go left. And we went through this old Kansas town, and I mean the trees were really big and really low. I mean the limbs were hanging right on the
And
road.
the antenna
Anyway,
was going thunk, thunk,
yeah, thunk
thunk,
thunk. The CB antenna was going crazy. Anyway, we finally get back up to the highway, and there's another guy with a little flashlight going like this, and we got on the road. And by that time, man, I was really burnt out.
Yeah, stressed.
And so we found a place. We found a place truck parking, and we pulled off of the truck parking, and it was great. I mean, we pulled all the way down to the end, parked underneath this bright light, and got in bed. And all of a sudden, Darla says,
There's somebody parked right outside our door. Literally, we could not have opened the door. They were parked that close.
Yeah.
I just one car. The rest of the place was empty. One car, and he chose to park right there.
So I
Which
said,
was
well,
weird.
he's just hiding, so we'll just let him be there, and it won't be a big deal. So we get in bed, we're almost asleep, and all of a sudden they open the truck scale, and all the trucks are coming by and hitting their jakes. So it was, you know. So I told her, I said, we're not going to be able to sleep here.
I wasn't sleeping anyways because I was too nervous about why that person was parked right there.
Yeah, so we just didn't even get dressed. Just put on a pair of shoes and got back in the driver's seat and opened the front curtains and left that guy sitting there. And then we were driving, and I mean, this was my first experience of operating this thing at night with the trucks just blowing us off everywhere we were at. And I was really extremely tired. And I finally found a little place that looked like a fitness place or something.
It was.
And we got off the freeway, the highway, and came around, and the sign said Bill's Place was the street. We pulled up and parked.
We knew we were in the right spot.
Yeah, we laid down, went to sleep, and had a great
Slept
night's
like
rest,
rocks.
and got up. So anyway, we did that, and then we ended up making it to Coffeyville, Kansas, and the campground there was like something they had just thrown together.
Well, it was thrown together. It was across the street from the warehouse that we were supposed to work at, and they had tried to put it together quickly in time for Amazon's peak season so that all the work campers could utilize that campground. But nothing had settled from construction, and so all the trenches and everything, once the first rain and snowfall hit, everything settled, including people's RVs.
Yeah, front ends were sticking up because their rear wheels
It
sunk
was
down.
bad.
It was a muddy, nasty.
Muddy,
it was
muddy.
mud,
Yeah.
and
It was close though.
I decided I was going to set the new world record at Amazon for picking, and I
Picking
blew
product.
picking
That was our
product,
job that year.
and I blew my knee up,
Real bad.
and of course it was my fault because I
Workman's
have
comp would
yeah
cover it.
I have to walk. You know, you have to walk every day. Of course, you don't normally walk at 30 miles an hour pushing a heavy cart around corners, 90-degree corners. So anyway, I was stuck in the motorhome, and I mean I was stuck. I couldn't move, and
But I was healthy enough to keep working.
yeah, Darla kept.
And
It's
we
our
were-
first job.
We
Our
were
first
working
job.
nights. Yeah.
And
And
I
I
think-
thought, why are we here?
Yeah, and then she was going with the guy that was
Another work
and his
camper
wife
and his
next
wife.
door. It I don't know. She got hung up one night, and the guy left her.
Yeah.
Left her.
And granted, it was across the street, but it was probably a quarter of a mile.
I'll tell you what.
I don't know.
The guy was very lucky that my knee was bad because I would have gone over and
I didn't
don't
ride
know what would
anymore
have
with
happened.
him.
I
I didn't
would-
ride anymore with him.
But I would have not been happy. I mean, if it would have been his wife, I would have stayed there 2 hours. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
left without her. So, anyway, needless to say, we don't call them anymore.
We didn't keep in touch.
So, we finished that job up, and we hit the road, and then we went to.
It was KOA.
Oh yeah, that's
in
right.
Uray, Colorado.
Yeah, we did KOA
Which was
in Colorado.
gorgeous. Such a pretty place.
One of the most beautiful places you've ever been to. Waterfalls, and it was a very hard job, and there was a lot of
Friction.
tension and everything else. But we finished the job and we got out of there. And then I don't want to go through all the jobs, but we ended
But
up.
we've worked at KOAs, and we've worked at Amazon, and we worked at baseball. We've done baseball.
We've done baseball. And
We've done sugar beets.
Done sugar beets. And we've done gate guarding.
We did
sugar
times.
beets for 7 years.
8 years.
8 years. We did baseball for 3 years.
4.
4 years.
Yep.
So I mean, we worked these jobs for quite a while.
We've done Christmas trees and pumpkin patch.
Christmas trees and pumpkin patch.
Right.
We've done a lot of work camping stuff. And
we did recruiting for gate guarding.
Right.
In Quartzsite, which we go to every year.
And when we first took off, we didn't have Social Security or anything,
No.
so we were totally
reliant on whatever jobs
relying
we
on
had.
what we made plus what
Right.
we had stashed
Saved.
away. And I'll tell you what, the thing about it is sometimes, man, you can really burn the money off when you're not working, so you got to be real careful with that, you know.
And too, I mean, one thing we didn't mention was when we left our home, we were completely out of debt, 100% out of debt. We didn't owe anything on the RV. Our truck was paid for. We sold everything that wasn't paid for, and just got rid of those bills.
It sold a lot of stuff, a lot of toys,
right.
my motorcycles.
And then that we put in savings. So.
Yeah, and yeah, my Corvette. But anyway, we had a lot of toys for a while. Life was good, but the big thing with one of the big determining factors of us doing this is that our kids were all married, moved out. We had this gigantic house that was high maintenance. I mean, high maintenance. And we had the motorcycle shop, which was high maintenance. And it was like, what are we doing? You know, we're in our 50s and we're just burning the candle at both ends. And then when the economy got bad, then it was all about stress and trying to make the house payment and keep the shop going. And that's what we decided to make the decision.
And we wanted to find a place where we might want to move.
Yeah.
Out of California. That was 10.5 years ago.
That's been something
really
we've
happy
done
we did that.
from the very beginning. Was look, and then what happened with the things that were going on in California? One by one, our kids left California,
Yeah.
and now we have one in Montana and one in North Carolina and one in Arkansas. So if we didn't have this motorhome, it would be very difficult to be able to go and see them and spend time with them. So we're actually right now we're on baby watch. So
Yeah.
we have another grandbaby coming.
Grandbaby number 8.
And that's going to be pretty soon. So that's why we're at a friend's house, and he's been real gracious to let us stay here,
Very gracious.
and we're having a lot of fun here.
Great people.
Another issue when you're living this lifestyle are breakdowns, and we've had one time where we had to be towed, and it was over a very simple problem. It would have been real easy for me to fix, which I ended up having to refix. But the thing were the conditions. The conditions were like 18 or 19 degrees with a 60-mile-an-hour wind on an icy highway that we were driving, leaving Sugar Beets, and we were driving on the 94, and the motorhome just cut off, just completely shut off electronically. So I coasted over the side of the road, and I mean, we're watching people going by us sideways. They're sliding, there's vehicles in the ditches.
There were semis on their sides.
Yeah, and we were going real slow, and all of a sudden I knew something was up because I see my amp gauge playing, doing funny things.
Let me just say, the reason that we were driving at all was because we had to go for our drug test so that we could work the next season at Amazon, and we had to get there on a certain day. So we were driving through an ice storm, and
we were driving from Grand Forks, North Dakota, to Billings, Montana, and that's a long drive.
Long drive.
And I'm like, we got to be there tomorrow. So I knew I was going to be driving all day and most of the night. And
if we didn't get there by the scheduled date, we were going to have to wait an additional week.
Yeah, to be able
and
to
at
start
that time, we were reliant on paychecks. So we needed to be sure that we got there on time so that we didn't lose out on an additional week. As it turned out, we did lose out on that week.
Yeah. So, and I'll tell you up front, if you don't have, we've met people that have $1,000 RV
Payments.
payments, and they have all these bills, and they're just very extravagant the way they live. If you keep it simple and keep things paid for, and that's why I usually recommend to people older RVs, because they're cheaper to buy and
Cheaper to fix.
cheaper to fix. There's parts available,
But on the flip side,
Yeah.
they break down more too.
but they break down, and you have to be, you either have to have a chunk of money to get it fixed, or you have to be able to fix it yourself. And fortunately, the only time we were towed was that one time. Like I said, the thing is we had already stowed all our real cold weather gear because we knew we were going to warmer temperatures. And when the motorhome shut off, I was going to try to figure out a way to fix it. And we had Good Sam Towing. I
Thank
said,
God.
you know what? We paid this money for Good Sam Towing. Let's just have them come and get us.
It paid for itself.
Yeah.
One tow and it paid for itself.
And this great big huge tow truck pulls up, and this little 70-year-old man about 5'4" gets out of this giant tow truck. And man, he had us. He wanted us to stay in the or leave the pickup truck hooked up. I said no, we're going to drive the pickup, because he got on the highway, and I thought the motorhome was going to be a goner, but he got it. He took us to a shop.
He knew what he was doing.
And of course, this shop, they worked on it, charged a lot of money, and it didn't fix it correctly. They got it going, but the thing was when the guy first came out, the mechanic, and I was starting to tell him what I thought was wrong with it. He goes, whoa, hey, so are you going to fix this, or am I going to fix this? And I said, well, I guess you're going to fix it. And he said, okay, so I'm going to fix it. So after about, an hour and a half or 2 hours trying to figure out what it was, he comes over and goes, well, what do you think it is? And I said, well, there's a solenoid in the front, under the hood in the front over there, and I think that solenoid's bad. And he went over there and jumped it, fired right up. So he laughed, and from then on we were buddies. He realized that I wasn't a dummy when it came to mechanics. So he put a starter solenoid in there instead of a continuous use solenoid.
Yeah.
So it only lasted a few weeks.
Right.
And it was kind of a bummer, because then the second time it went bad, I thought he might have been the right thing, but it wasn't. And we went into a truck we were calling while we were driving down the road, and she got a truck place that had one, but they weren't sure what it was either. But they said it was continuous use, but I think it was low amperage, because I just had to replace it again. But that other one was replaced years ago. Like that when I replaced that last one,
I
it was
remember
like
the
6
fuse
years.
was completely melted.
Yeah. So, and now I carry a spare.
Yeah.
So,
But towing is a good thing to have, honestly.
Yeah.
That one breakdown and that one tow was worth many times over what we paid for towing.
yeah, I've been hearing
Many
a lot
times
of
over.
negative about Good
Sam.
Sam, and I made
It
a
did us
comment on
good.
somebody else's. A guy had a flat tire or something, and he needed
Service, roadside.
needed roadside. By the time that they even got done talking to Good Sam, he already put a tire on his trailer, and they were on their
But
way.
I mean, there's things that you absolutely have to have a tow truck for, and I think
Yeah.
that Sam's good for that. You know, he
Right.
can change a tire. A lot of people can. Some people can't. But I
Well, this thing's hard to change tires
yeah,
on.
it is.
'Cause
True. That
they're-
is true.
But one thing good about this rig is it has the levelers, so I could actually lift the
He had a
whole
trailer.
motorhome. Yeah, he was on a travel trailer. He didn't have a jack with him, but he used the one for his truck, and it got him by. We actually had a flat on a travel trailer one time coming
Yeah.
back. So anyway, we had that breakdown, and then we had a time where our rear main seal started leaking. We actually did
Oh man, that trip was something.
the motorhome, when we bought the motorhome, it was 15 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
And it had sat for a long time, and it only had 30,000 original miles on it when we bought it.
And
So
there really wasn't much maintenance done
yeah,
on
there
it
wasn't much.
over the years.
A buddy of mine and I did a lot of maintenance on it when we got it, but rear main seal's not a maintenance item. It's something that you fix when it goes bad. And we were coming back from we were coming down from Washington.
Right.
Was it Washington? No, the first time I've replaced
Wow.
it twice. The first time I replaced it, we were coming from Sugar Beets again, going to my daughter that's having the baby now. She was having a baby then, and she had had a bunch of
But she was in
complications.
California.
And Darla was like, "We need to get there." So we got in this thing, and I was hauling butt, and we were going over up and down these hills, taking shortcuts and everything else. And when we got to where we were going, there was a puddle
Of oil.
of oil underneath the motor, and it had never leaked a drop. I talked to a bunch of people about doing it, and everybody was kind of blowing smoke. They wanted all this thousands and thousands of dollars to replace this rear main seal. So a buddy of mine, he has a upholstery shop, and I asked him if I could do it in his parking lot. And he said sure, and I had a motorcycle jack, so I lifted the transmission with this motorcycle jack. The only problem was is his lot was flat and level, and I had the jack, I had the motorhome leveled up, but the jack wasn't. And when the thing went back in, it didn't go back in right. And I don't know, it got about 500 miles and it started leaking again. And then it got so bad that this is when we were coming back from Washington. We were putting a gallon of oil in this thing
It was
about every
ridiculous.
60 miles. And it was a mess. The whole back
Oh,
of this thing was just, and the truck just
The
was
truck
oiled.
was like so shiny from all the oil that it was spewing. It was really bad.
But we made it to Quartzsite, in this campground we've been staying at. They didn't even know. We got a piece of plywood, and I bought another one of those jacks and had it shipped there. And a guy that we were working with at Sugar Beets, who's a mobile diesel
MR
mechanic.
Mobile. He used to
MR
have a
Mobile.
YouTube channel. I don't know where he went.
Anyway, I told him, I said, I'll pay for a month if you'll just help me with, getting this thing in and out. And so he came there, and because it takes two guys, that transmission is heavy.
Yeah.
So we pulled it out and got it out of there, put the new seal in. It's been perfect. No problem since. So
And what was great is there was no oil spillage because there was none left.
yeah. But I told the owner of the campground, I said, I changed the rear main seal out here, and he goes, I never even knew it, so I don't care.
They're so cool at that.
yeah, they're really cool.
That's Lazy Days RV in Quartzsite if you guys are interested.
Yeah, we go there every year.
Every year.
So anyway, we did that one, and then we had the same kind of situation going from San Fernando Valley up to Las Vegas. We had the radiator was leaking, and we were putting coolant in and constantly, and we finally got there. And then, but the bad part about that we're kind of getting into another part of our life thing. There, some of the toughest issues have been medical issues for us.
Yeah.
Especially me. I'm
Medical insurance, medical prescriptions,
Yeah.
medical issues, health wise.
I'm diabetic, and and I'm usually around 200 pounds, and I got down to 140 pounds. I mean, it's pretty bad when your kids see you and they start crying. So anyway, I just was not able to do the mechanic working. And one of our subscribers had came by and saw us when we were doing the pumpkin patch in Vegas. And he looked at me and goes, "Man, you've lost a lot of weight." And I go, and I had been to the doctor, and this doctor said, "Oh yeah, you're fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're losing weight. You're looking good." I was on my way to getting the smallest coffin they have, and so we went to another. He set us up with another doctor. Took care of me. Took care of her. Reasonably priced.
Less than half what we paid the other doctor to see.
Yeah,
him.
for both of us.
Yeah,
And we
for
did,
both
and
of
they did a
us.
lot more. And then he hooked. Of course, I had to go on to insulin, but he hooked us up with
But
2 months of it, and
stop right here. We had MediShare for years.
yeah,
Paid our premium, never needed to use it, even though they said that they had a free physical
every year. We paid $300 a
We
month.
decided when he got so sick that we were going to see that first doctor, and because of how they coded it, even though I asked them to code it as a health check, they coded it as a diagnostic, even though we went in and said he has diabetes, and they said, well, we've discovered he has diabetes, so they coded it as diagnostic. They didn't cover anything, and we just felt like,
Yeah.
what is the insurance worth having if it's not going to pay anything till you meet your deductible, which was something they said they would cover. And it's not Medishare's fault that it was coded incorrectly, but I tried to get in touch with them, and they never, 6 months I tried to get in touch with them. They never contacted me back via email, letter, phone call, anything. So we dropped them, and we don't endorse them anymore.
Right.
Just simply for their customer care and lack thereof. So.
And then, after we seen the doctor, then we went to courtside again. Then we go to Mexico every year. We used to go down there. I used to get metformin and all that stuff down there. Well, I got my prescription to the insulin, and when I checked with Walmart, it was $325 a month for insulin. So I thought, well, we'll see what they could do for us down there in Mexico. $81 a month. So I buy a year's supply when I go down there. Great place to go. If you are an RVer, and even if you're not, if you're in Texas or somewhere like that, where you can go across the border and get your medical supplies there, you're going to save a ton of money. I mean, you're going to save a ton of money. Plus glasses, they sell glasses.
Yeah.
You do dental work there.
I think you can get contact lenses there too.
Yeah. Well, they do everything
They do.
just like you would get in the United States. The only thing is that instead of spending, I used to pay $600 for my lenses. Now I get the glasses, the frames, and the lenses, and the whole thing. Exact same thing, transition, the whole deal
Progressive.
for $100.
Yeah.
So
With the exam included in that.
right, and it doesn't make any sense. I mean, why they charge us so much in this country, but they do. So that's something you got to have a passport. We just had to renew ours, but we just got the one where you can go to
Card.
Canada and Mexico.
Yeah,
And
you can't fly international with the card, but you
Right.
can go to Mexico or go to Canada on that card.
but we don't fly anyway, and we're not going to fly anymore. So if we're going to go somewhere, we're going to take our house with us, pretty much, unless it's an absolute emergency. After we got the courtside, we were working that year. We were working in the tech. And we worked for Guard One Services recruiting for gate guards for down in Texas and actually now Colorado and New Mexico. Anyway, we did that, and then when we left there, we were headed back to Arkansas, and we had another job that was coming up, and I got COVID, and I mean I had it bad, and of course we were receiving, you're not supposed to do this and you're not supposed to do that. And it just kept getting worse and worse. When I finally decided to do what I thought would work, it was over with. Got rid of it. I used prednisone and antibiotics, and within 2 days I was feeling 1,000 times better.
Which we got from Mexico.
Yeah, which we got from Mexico. And then we were on our way down to Florida for a job. Then we got to Alabama, and I had to turn around. We went back to my daughter's, and we sat there for probably about 2 months. About a month maybe, a little over a month. And then we went down, we ended up going back down to Florida, and we checked out this job, and it just wasn't going to work out for us. And that's when COVID became public, that it was really, because we had no idea what I had. I just could barely function. And so we went down there, we turned around, we came back, we stayed at my daughter's for too long.
He says ended up staying too long at our daughter's because neighbors turned us into code enforcement because
Right.
we were staying in the RV. So we had to go. And
It's called mooch stalking. And it works really good sometimes.
it shouldn't have affected anyone. She's not an HOA, but she has neighbors that had nothing to do because they were all on lockdown at home looking out their front windows at us in their backyard. Anyway, so we decided we needed to be somewhere, and we took a job gate guarding in Colorado
Right. So,
where it froze.
yeah.
Way too much.
So I think one thing we should probably touch on is we're the type of full-time RVers that when we travel, we tend to stay at Walmarts,
Right.
Flying J's, Home Depots, those type of places
Because usually we're traveling from
Yeah.
one job to the next.
we stop at 7 or 8 o'clock at night. We get up early in the morning, get dressed, eat, and we're back on the road again.
Leave the Walmart parking lot.
And to drop 30 to, we used to have Passport America and we go to some of those campgrounds, and they were, they were okay, but the prices, even with the discount, it was too much. So the secret to Walmarts and Home Depots and places like that, first of all, have respect.
Right.
And don't park in front of the doorway sideways or something.
Don't put your slides out.
Don't put your slides out. Don't dump your tanks. Don't run your generator all night long.
Don't put your lawn chairs out and your awning and your barbecue.
Pull in, close your curtains, go to
leave
bed.
Your trash.
Yeah, get up. We call ahead of time and ask if it's okay and where would you like us to park.
Always.
And we go and park, and then we usually go in, and if we need to purchase something, we go get what we need. And then we're back in the motorhome and we're done for the day. When they come in the morning now, most Walmarts, I don't know if any of them are still open 24 hours. But usually by the time they get there, we're pulling out. So, and if everybody did that, there would be no problem. They would let you stay at all the Walmarts. But there's a lot of people that are taking advantage of Walmart and different places like that. That's one of the subjects is people. And we've learned in this lifestyle, when we were in the motorcycle world, we learned pretty quickly. I mean, I grew up in it, but when you have a shop and different things like that, not everybody that walks through the door that rides a motorcycle is going to be a great person. There's a combination of all different kinds of people, and you'd be surprised the people that I think are great people as opposed to the people that are poop heads.
But that's true of any cross-section of communities.
But the ones that you would think that would be the jerks are pretty much most of the time are the ones that are pretty cool. So, and still are to this day. But it's this way in the RV world, because just because somebody has an RV, it doesn't make them a good person or a nice person or somebody you want to be around. And everybody tends to put on a happy face when you first meet them. I know we do too. But, there's just some people that are just, you go in, they'll take your chairs. You don't know. You just got to be really, really cautious about everything.
Just being wise.
Yeah, your surroundings, and if you get a funny feeling.
Like having a car parked that far from your door.
Yeah, well, but that person, I think that person was just trying to protect themselves. They were harmless.
About it completely.
But
anyway.
Yeah, but like I say, there's been people. There's basically three kinds of people that are going to do RVing, and there's the people that really are doing it out of total necessity, and then there's people that are doing it because they want to, and they're not driving a $2 million rig. They're just living the lifestyle, and sometimes they're in campgrounds, sometimes they're not, but they live the lifestyle. And then there's the mega people, the mega rich with the big expensive RVs pulling trailers full of toys, and they just go from their special resorts to special resorts. And all three of those are fine. I don't have any problem with any of them. The thing about it is that some of the nicest people I've met have been people that are struggling. They're struggling in their life, and that's, everybody goes through that, especially if you're self-employed. we went through that a lot in our lives because we were always self-employed. So you can't, I take everybody by their heart, not by their impression of what they look like or what they're driving or whatever. You kind of have to just go by the individuals, and that's the main thing. The last thing we need to discuss here is the home base situation. So one thing I've been noticing, because I watch a lot of videos. I got rid of all my satellite TV and all that. So there's a lot of people that, they've been full-timing for 3.5 months, and it's terrible. It's the worst life. They made a big mistake, and they're going to get off the road, and they're going to do all this stuff. Well, 3.5 months to figure something out really isn't enough time, but that's up to them. If that's how long they figure it took them to figure it out, that's fine. We've we bought our property about 1.5 years, 2 years ago.
2018 December.
2018. Okay, so it's been about 2.5 years. 2.5 years. So the process with this is is that now we're to the point where we actually had a little payment on it, and I didn't want to do anything until we had it completely paid off. And
It is just a piece of land.
it just,
There's a little shack on it.
yeah, a little shack, but it has utilities,
Right.
all the utilities, gas, electric, water,
Sewer.
sewer. Just nothing is hooked up. Everything needs to be hooked up, and there needs to be some tractoring done. So we've got things, process rolling to get the tractoring done, and we're gonna put a couple of RV spots in there, and eventually we're gonna set up a metal building. And we moved what was left of our motorcycle shop to a storage place
Nearby
the property. And when we get the building built, then I'll have my shop, and we'll have the motor home, and we're going to put a little tiny house in there.
And if you guys want to see the property, I'll
we have a video.
link it at the top.
Anyway, it
So you
is
can
here
see
in
that
Arkansas, and it's. I think a wise thing to do is when you do the first day you take off on this journey of full-time RVing, start looking for the place you're going to want to be, because surprising enough, 10 years blew by. I mean,
So
when
fast.
you're living this lifestyle, even when you're not doing anything, you're doing stuff. We go out, we love to go on rides, we love to go driving. We've been where we're at right now, and the people that we're staying with are like, man, you know more
They
about this
live
place
here.
than we do. And because we go and we find the little back roads.
And to be fair, they've been establishing their home
Yeah.
here. They went from blank land to what it is now, and it's amazing.
Yeah, they've got
And they're not done.
an amazing setup going on here. So
Yes.
the thing is, and that's the thing, is when you find where you want to be, one good thing I'll tell you, one good thing about Arkansas is certain parts of Arkansas you could do anything you want.
There's
and
no code.
There's no codes. There's no inspections or any of that kind of stuff.
But I think the only thing that they absolutely require where we're
Yeah, they
where
want
our
to make sure
property
you're
is
set up to sewer before they turn the
set
water
up to
on.
sewer, and I think there's some stipulation with plumbing.
Well, that's it. That's the stipulation.
Yeah,
with
but I
plumbing.
mean inside the structure you're building, but
Yeah, I don't.
it's
Ye-
just a matter of safety.
It's
kind of
it's.
things. Real
I mean, they
basic.
don't even mess with you on the electrical. I mean, pretty much, if you build something and it falls over and crushes you, it's your fault.
It's on you.
So it's kind of like going down to Mexico and tripping. You got to be looking at the ground the whole time
That
you're there,
is
because
that
it's
is the truth.
there-
We actually know someone that fell there, and
yeah. If you fall, you're not
It's on
suing
you.
anybody. It's your fault. It's your problem that you fell. And I mean, so, there are some pretty hazardous
yes, there
spots
are.
down there. The one thing that I think everybody should do, and sometimes you could find a little glitch where you find a place and it may be an expensive place to live, but you have your home, and maybe you can rent a spot on somebody's property. Of course, you got to be aware that some of these places where especially if you're in like a big city or something, they're going to want to run you off. I mean, like you said, there was no HOA, but there was code enforcement. And the code enforcement guy, I'd seen him drive by every couple of days. I kept seeing him drive by. And when he finally came and told us that, hey, there was a complaint, he said, I would have never, it didn't seem like you were bothering anybody. I would have never said anything. But
And the thing of it is, where she lives, where
Yeah.
our daughter lives, you can park your RV there. You just can't dwell in it.
yeah,
So.
which is, I don't know how we hurt anybody's feelings by it, but that's just the rules. That's the problem. There's too many rules in this country anymore. So
So we're in a place where there aren't any rules. If your
Right.
neighbor wants to have a junkyard, he can have a junkyard, and I'm not going to complain because
Don't
I don't
complain.
want them complaining about us.
if you
I'll just put a
complain,
fence
if
up
you
or-
complain,
Plant something I can't see it.
then you should move. The person that's doing the complaining should move, because a lot of these people, it's taken them years and years and years to get their yard full of junk. And you know what? To them, that could be their treasures. I don't know. So you
To
just
each his own, right?
and you when you drive through the roads around here,
I don't want a meth lab next door.
Yeah.
But, no.
but there's beautiful homes, and then there's not so beautiful
Yeah.
homes, and But like once again, you know, you meet the people that are living in those not so beautiful homes, and a
They're
lot of
really
them are really,
nice.
really good people. So you just gotta, you know, gotta have an open mind on that. That's kind of what I wanted to share with everybody. Of course, we've only had this YouTube channel for what, about 4 years, almost 4 years.
I think we just passed our 3rd year mark.
Third year, yes. So, yeah, we're in our 4th year of doing the YouTube thing, and basically when we started.
If you look at our channel, it says he's had a channel since 2014, but we didn't put any content on.
Yeah, I
So-
just did that because I thought maybe someday I want to put a picture or something on there. But yeah, Brian from Adventure Van Man, he was working with us on the Christmas tree lot, and the second year he came back, he said, "Hey, you oughta give this a whirl."
Encouraged.
Encouraged me. I thought, oh, okay, we'll do it. So that's how it started, and I don't know. It's just been, for us. It's the YouTube thing has been a slow process.
But you know what? Honestly, the way I see it, I put this content together, editing and stuff. It's out there, and we fluctuate in our subscribers, but it's more kind of just a history for what we did and our family to enjoy and friends that want to follow along. And if you're a subscriber and we don't know you, then you're our friend. So we're happy you're here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we have really good subscribers.
We do.
You know, I hear all these guys talking about all these horrible things, people calling in, you know, the ATF and everything else on them, and we haven't had those kind of problems, and hopefully
We've had
we
the
never
random
do.
weird comment and stuff, but
Yeah.
by and large, our subscribership, they're just normal, friendly people, and
Yeah, we
they
really,
appreciate whatever we put out there.
yeah, we, you know, to sit there and listen to us just ramble on once in a while is, you know, can be very painful, because I've watched other people that, that, you know, but I'm the type of guy that'll watch a YouTube channel of a ship in a storm for an hour and 15 minutes. I did that yesterday, so I don't know. You seen one wave, I guess you've seen them all. But, yep. And KG boy, where'd he go? He's usually the star of the show, but I think we got him calmed down. Mom's got a treat.
Look. Can you say hi? Can you say hi?
We
Wave.
did when we first started off. We had our other dog,
Wave.
and he was our motorcycle dog. He lived it with us. You know, he went to the shop every day with us, and he rode on the motorcycle with us, and he was a really good boy.
That's our Mackie boy.
But he got real sick, and we went.
When we started this channel, we didn't have a dog.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and
you never saw.
he was the same kind of dog as this. You want this? This is how you get him to come over. He's all about food, man. He's an eater.
All about food.
He's an eater. Anyway.
He'll be 3 in July already.
Yeah. So life is good. We're going to do this baby, and then we'll be heading to Montana. We're going to be in a beautiful place this year. As
Glacier.
long as we can.
Glacier
National Park. As long as we can, we'll be there. I mean, it's...
And when it comes to the property, whatever he decides to do, we'll be videoing that too.
Right.
Hopefully that draws some people's interest.
There's a lot of tractoring that needs to get done.
Yeah. The land
big problem-
is very slightly sloped, and it just needs
It's more
to
than
be,
slightly.
it needs to
it's
be
slow.
level. We've got a real low spot on one side and a real high spot on the other, so that's got to be figured out before.
And we have a guy with a
does anything
bulldozer
else.
that's going to come over and do it. And we have the guy that's going to dig the trenches so we can run all the water lines and electrical and the sewer. The thing is it has been every other day. It has rained really,
Yeah, it's
really,
been crazy.
really hard. And I don't know. Hopefully, because we got everything all set up to be done. And there is kind of a time schedule. They do. The one thing that they make you do is get a inspection for all the underground utilities, and they give you like a certain amount of time to
Do any
dig,
dozing.
to do
digging,
your
yeah.
digging or whatever. but that's kind of up to him. I told him, the situation, and he said, yeah, we'll get it. So he's a good guy. I know we're going to get it done, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be nice because then we will have our own place again. I know a lot of the, like I say, a lot of the RVers during this COVID thing kind of panicked, and I would panic too.
A lot of YouTubers ended up getting home bases. YouTubers that travel, a lot of them did, even van dwellers. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't blame them. Who knew what was...
It's nice to know you have somewhere to light in between jobs or in between travel or whatever you're doing. We came back and we had nowhere. And if it wasn't for the good graces of this good friend that we've got right now and his wife, who were originally subscribers, and they've extended hospitality to us over and over, and we're very thankful for them, very thankful, because otherwise it would be costing us a fortune to try to stay somewhere until this grandbaby is had, and I will be here for this grandbaby.
Yeah. So yeah, what's that?
Thank you to our hosts.
Once the grandbaby thing is done, then we're back to RVing again, pretty much.
And working.
But last year we were doing grandbabies too.
Yes, we were.
Because the youngest daughter had a baby last year, so it's like
we raised prolific children.
Yeah, it's time for everybody to take a break on having grandbabies.
Yeah, well.
Or they can have them by themselves.
I'll
So
be there.
anyway,
that's one thing. He loves to travel, but I love to be, in the family thing, and he tries to make that happen as much as he can, but he does like to go.
Yeah, and I'm like Cage. I like to meet new people all the time, So anyway, want to thank you guys for watching us, and like I say, to our subscribers, really appreciate you guys hanging with us. In the future, once we get past the baby, of course I always say this, but hopefully we'll have more time to do more things.
Well,
we're not really 9 times out of 10 we do something really awesome, and we get all done, we go, God, we should have filmed that. So we just got to get used.
There hasn't been a lot going on, though, because of COVID. I mean, everybody's been in lockdown. Places have been shut. You can't go there, It's getting better, and it'll get better, but that's kind of where we were the last year.
There's certain things where 300 YouTubers have been to the same place. It's just over and over and over again.
We did put out a lot of content during Quartzsite because a lot of people were interested to know how COVID was affecting Quartzsite, and we got a lot of views and a lot of interest in that. But that's only for a month, and what we saw was different than what other people saw, and so everybody wanted to watch everyone's content, I guess.
Right. Yeah, and it's,
But I will say this. Where we are right now, everything's popping. Spring is here, and it's
really
more
green.
and more gorgeous every day.
Green, very
it's
green.
Very pretty, and we should probably share some more of that.
Yeah.
On some of our rides.
So, well, hey guys, it's 10.5 years to make our 10-year anniversary video. We've been talking about it for 6 months, but here it is. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any comments or any questions or any of that kind of stuff, suggestions,
we do appreciate
questions
you
and
guys
answers
coming along for whatever we have to throw out there and offer you. So
yeah, and we really enjoy the feedback, and we love to get likes.
We do answer our comments. We love the likes. And,
and if you're not subscribed, please give it a try. Subscribe to us and make us smile. So thank you guys. Everybody be good. We'll see you on the road.